Everyone wants believers. We can debate the wisdom of that decision when you learn where it took them.
Gang, got a special treat for you today. My invited guests on the show are the two notorious fanboys who are holding Choi and Finkelman. Now, if you want to talk with us live, log on to thisisrage.com. And don't forget to use that big forward to a friend button. But enough shameless self-promotion. Let us say hello to Ben and Jerry. Welcome, boys. This is Rage.
Thanks, Kimo. We appreciate being invited on the show. Internet radio is cool.
Yeah, it is. You think you could get on the air any other way? You have broken a few laws.
We'll admit this hasn't gone exactly the way we intended. Jerry and I wanted to start a company so we could hire as many people as possible, especially with the economy being so bad. But here we are.
You're sweethearts. All right, let me recap the situation for the 27,356 listeners now with us. You kidnapped two of the most important technology executives in the world to fund your startup. And you think somehow this ends okay for you.
You know, we're entrepreneurs. We try to focus on the positive.
Hey, Kimo, this is Jerry. Can I talk?
Well, Jerry, if I understand it right, you're the brainy one. I don't know. Will Ben let you talk?
Sure, of course. Look, we're not bad guys. Calvin and Steven know that. We've gotten to know them, and we all have a lot in common.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. That's the captives identifying with the captors. Deeply disturbing, don't you think? So, you want my listeners to know you're not bad guys. Okay, shall we find out what some of them think?
Sure. What do we have to lose? Bring them on!
Outstanding. We have Emma Sue Yu, possibly from Castroville. You are on with Ben and Jerry.
Ben, Jerry, I just want to say, on behalf of my Thursday night bowling league, which I can barely afford, you guys rock. What you did takes guts.
Okay, Emma, I just want to get this straight now. You're sending a virtual high five to two guys who have hidden themselves away with two CEOs and a gun.
Damn straight, Kimo. They got pissed off and took action. Now maybe a few other CEOs will think twice before they treat the rest of us like one-wipe Charlies. We should have rights, man. You guys hang in there. You're teaching all of them a lesson.
Hey, thanks, Emma. You keep knocking down those pins, we'll do the same.
Thank you, Emma Sue Yu. Wow, that was some opening act. All right, let's see if she's alone in her opinion. Stan 1234, downwind from Chico. Welcome. This is Rage.
Ben, Jerry, how you have kept yourselves from pulling the trigger is beyond me. You're probably not going to get out of there alive, but you will be remembered as heroes by folks like me. That I can promise you.
Respectfully, Stan, we have the upper hand here. We think there's a deal to be made.
No, there isn't. I work security part-time, and I can tell you, you're toast. But never mind. You're heroes for the cause. I haven't worked 40 hours in 3 years. I had a great factory job with benefits. Then my company merged with one in Brazil, and all the jobs got slashed. The CEO got canned, too. Only he retired with a net worth of $400 million in the beachfront in Rio. Like that Emma woman said, I wish I had your guts. I hope it doesn't hurt much when they shoot you.
Okay, well, there's an optimist. Hey, Ben, you know, Stan seems to know his stuff. I'm guessing you don't want it to end that way. So any chance you and Jerry are, I don't know, thinking about throwing in the towel?
Like I said, Kimo, we have the upper hand.
How about you let us talk to Mr. Choi and Mr. Finkelman? I mean, my listeners sure would love to hear the sound of their voice.
Not a chance, Kimo. Calvin and Steve are safe. They're right here next to us, but they aren't coming on the show. Don't ask that again, or this call is over.
Hey, fair enough. All right, let's bring on another voice. Miss B. Spears. Okay? Berkeley, California, have at it.
You know what I think, Kimo? I think there's a reason these two guys haven't been popped. This thing is too smooth. It's too well planned.
Wait a minute now. You think there's some clandestine conspiracy keeping Ben and Jerry alive? Do share.
Sorry, Ben and Jerry, but I think you're bought. I think you're both guns for hire. That doesn't mean you're not cool. But let's be real.
You don't know what you were talking about.
Oh, no, really? You think it's normal that you and your brother...
He's not my brother. He's my cousin.
Yeah, cousin, brother, buddy, boyfriend. I couldn't care a Bitcoin. And like the other caller said, if you really did kidnap a couple of puke brain executives, I mean, good for you. But I think you're contractors, and I think you were hired by Envision Inc.
Ooh, this really is a conspiracy theory. Tell us more, Miss B. Spears.
I mean, hey, I am no genius. I'm a professional attendant at corporate date. I am not a hooker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. But I get hired as an escort for a lot of CEO types when they're in town. The shit I hear is mind-boggling. These guys would eat live chicken parts to close a deal.
Wow, I'm not trying to rush you now, ma'am, but we now have 116,720 people on the internet awaiting your point, as well as the details of your biography.
Well, my point is that the Adam Hart deal stinks. Employment removal to push profits. Now, some power players want this deal to happen, and those co-CEOs aren't the guys, or you wouldn't have them. Am I the only one with a nose for stank?
That's quite a notion, Miss B. Spears. What do you say, fellows? Our escort friend thinks you were hired to get Choi and Finkelman out of the way. Are you on someone's payroll? Maybe Steyer's?
That's absurd. Kimo, we're not working for anyone. We didn't know anything about Adam Hart when we took Choi and Finkelman.
We didn't even want Choi and Finkelman. We just wanted the Series A.
Mm-hmm, you see that? And so you guys pulled this off on your own? Yeah, I don't buy it. Nice head fake, though, going on Kimo's show, but the act needs some work.
That's quite a bit of insight from a professional dinner companion. You must listen closely to the conversations around you.
Oh, Kimo, I make my money in stock tips. Some people call it insider trading, I call it justice. But here's the good news. As long as you guys hang on to Choi and Finkelman, no merger will happen. And if they wait too long and the envisioning stock price goes high enough, Adam Hart will back away. Everyone's rooting for Ben and Jerry. Screw Choi and Finkelman.
Damn it, Kimo. Keep your show under control.
Oh, this is the internet, fellas. It legislates itself.
This interview is over.
The Ben and Jerry interview had lots of listeners. Yes, including me. Ben and Jerry were becoming America's favorite anti-heroes. If they were shooting for fame, they'd hit the jackpot. However, they were not shooting for fame. And things were starting to get a little uncomfortable.
We're screwed. They have everything wrong.
Beg to differ, Dennis. You hit the jackpot.
What do you mean, Choi? They think we're working for Steyer.
Yup, and they think you took control of the situation and spun the deal against him. They love you, Dennis. They hate Steyer, and they hate us. They think you're the good guys teaching us a lesson. Just one problem. Steyer isn't going to pay you a dime.
That isn't what you said before.
We were wrong before. Steyer is playing us. He must have given Balthazar your number to draw this out, buy more time. He probably has the FBI on this. You're stuck with us. You need to take advantage of public opinion before it changes.
How do we do that, Stephen?
Sam, we're pretty sure you don't want to kill us. As you know, my partner and I have a fair amount of money that's our own. We also have a Boeing business jet that's ours, not the company's. We keep it fueled at Moffett Field. A half hour from here, we can have the money transferred and fly you to Shanghai.
You're saying you'll give us $5 million and Vision Inc. won't? And you'll get us out of the country? You think you can pull that off?
Not give, invest. It's our money. It's our jet. We live in a free country. We can do what we want with what's ours. Can we not?
You changed your minds just like that. Why didn't you invest when we asked you at the party? We wouldn't have had to leave the country. We could have been your neighbors.
We didn't know you that well then. Now that we've seen what you're made of, we think you're a decent investment opportunity.
You changed your minds because you don't want us to shoot you.
We changed our minds because we don't want the FBI to shoot us when they shoot you. What do you care about the logic? It's business. Yes is yes.
No deal.
Dennis, what do you mean, no deal? What other offer is on the table? I'll eat the goddamn dim sum.
That was the deal before. The price has gone up. We want twice capital now. It's $10 million to play, and the valuation is $50 million. You only get 20% equity.
I don't know, Dennis, $10 million? That's a big ticket.
Take it or be dead.
I can find a way to live with it.
You can't live without it. What about you, Finkelman? Deal?
I guess I can be okay with it too.
Fine. It's done.
We're agreed. But you have to promise to let us go when we deliver. Send the jet right back here. We are trusting that you're a man of your word.
Have I given you any other reason to believe otherwise? And don't worry, your return on investment will exceed your expectations. Like you said, this is not a donation. It's business.
Trifling technical question. How do we move forward?
Call back Steyer, tell him Steven and I want to talk to our general counsel, Sylvia Normandy. The call will be privileged and confidential. She'll take care of the details.
Then ditch the phone. GPS chip. They must be tracking you. We'll take Uber to Moffett. They can be pricey, but they won't ask questions.
This is for real, right? You can trust us, we can trust you. I know it's awkward, but...
Sam, this is hardly an ideal situation, but we do what we say we'll do.
Anyone lies, this ends badly for all of us. I told Sam before, I'm not going to prison. That word I will keep. I'm making the call. You make sure your attorney does what she's told.
I did what I was told. I thought Calvin and Stephen were out of their minds, but I did it because they made it clear that they really wanted me to do it. None of this made me comfortable. Ben sounded really unstable on the air, and I was convinced that he could snap at any moment. The jet to China scheme was high risk at best, since there was a very good chance they wouldn't be able to get that plane in the air. And if they did, there was an equally good chance that Ben would never let Calvin and Stephen come home. On the other hand, there weren't a lot of options. Special Agent Husani was clearly trying, but he had definitely been behind a desk too long. Exactly why Steyer recruited him. A cover story to stall. I'm not saying that Steyer wanted Ben to shoot Calvin and Stephen, but I think that he'd played out the scenario where that happened and saw that it could work to his benefit. He'd have his Adam Hart deal without the mess of trying to convince his two reluctant CEOs, all in the name of shareholder value. The hacked code would be Saul's problem. He'd bury that secret detail, too. I felt pretty helpless, but not completely. The only thing that was going to put some urgency into the rescue of Calvin and Stephen was the Adam Hart deal going south. There was one way that was going to happen, and that was if Steyer made a blunder, something he was too smart to do. Except if he was baited into revealing his cards in public. And it just so happened that I used to sleep with the one guy who might be able to get Steyer that agitated. So I visited Balthazar at the park again. He was feeling pretty full of himself, though you could only get so arrogant when you're sleeping on a park bench and hijacking Wi-Fi. His listenership was way up, and if it wasn't in the millions like it used to be, it was heading into uncharted territory as far as internet radio was concerned. It took a little bit of convincing, especially since producer Lee Creighton opposed me on instinct. But Balthazar finally agreed to send out an invitation to Steyer. And it was one hell of an invitation.
Digital dwellers of Silicon Valley, welcome. This is Rage. There are a lot of you out there feeling pain. And we need to talk about justice. We need to talk about honesty and transparency. But for that to happen, there is one voice missing on this webcast, and that would be the kingpin investor, Daniel Steyer. Chairman Dan. Now, I know you're busy negotiating the liquidation price of your company, but you need to come on my show and explain why you aren't doing anything to help Choi and Finkelman. Now, we need to hear from you why your latest deal is more important than their lives, and what's going to happen to your employees when the deal closes. Is everyone going to get fired? How rich do you need to get, you conniving corporate criminal? You call into my show and tell us any truth you want. Otherwise,